Hi. This is gonna be my first video where I actually show my face, so I might be a little awkward, so I'm sorry. So earlier today I was at Subway, and while I was finishing up eating my sandwich and stuff, these three guys came in, and I'm gonna name them. The first one's name is Larry, the second one's name is Bob, and the third one's name is Douchebag. So Bob and Larry are friends apparently because they're the ones who are talking to each other, but then Douchebag is by himself, and he just walked in with nothing but a phone, and while Bob and Larry were ordering their sandwiches to this woman who was working on the counter by herself, and she was just all by herself. She was making the sandwiches by herself. She was doing working on the cash register by herself. Douchebag sort of hung around, and he was sort of saying stuff to the woman, and the woman started mouthing something to Douchebag, and she just looked really annoyed as soon as she saw Douchebag. She just looked really annoyed that he was there. So it seemed like they both knew each other. I think maybe they're maybe Douchebag is the woman's ex-boyfriend or boyfriend or husband or brother or friend, or I don't know. And so Douchebag, he just hung around the Subway while this woman was trying to work, and all he did pretty much was just sort of harass her while she was working, and it was really annoying. First, when Bob and Larry were ordering their sandwiches, she would be trying to she was trying really hard to focus on them. Douchebag started kicking around boxes on the floor and rearranging the chips on the rack. He started filming her and taking pictures with his phone and stuff just to annoy her, and I know that the woman was trying really hard to ignore him, but he was just super rude. It just made the whole experience really uncomfortable. And this whole entire time I was sitting there and I was witnessing the whole thing happening, and I was just thinking to myself, you gotta do this, you gotta get up and stop this man from harassing this woman while she's trying to work. All I could ever do was just sit there, eat my sandwich, watch this whole thing happening, and then walk out, because I didn't really have the courage to stand up to him. I just felt kind of terrible about it after I walked out, because it's I'm now officially a cowardly bystander, you know? I sometimes think about what I stand for, and if I really do stand for what I stand for, because I love the idea of feminism, and I love the idea of women rising up to power against oppression, but when I don't have the courage to stand up against something like that, like a case like bullying or sexism or harassment, I feel so cowardly and I feel so worthless. I talk about all these ideas online, don't do bullying, don't be sexist, don't be harassing people, but I sort of stand by that statement. But what does it mean to stand by the statement? Because when I encountered a bully like that today, I didn't really do anything. I just walked out. So I wanted to help her. She seemed like a really nice woman, but I just didn't have the guts to stand up to him. I really wanted to just stop and stand up and say, would you leave her alone? But that never really happened because I wasn't brave enough. I was too afraid for a confrontation, so I didn't stand up to him. And instead I just walked out silently, and I feel terrible about it now. I wish I could do something to help that woman, but I can't really. I just feel really guilty about it, and I hate that I let it happen, and I feel ashamed that I didn't step in and practice the beliefs that I always talk about. So I hope that next time I'm going to have the courage to do it.